So I haven't made a beat in a while, and I just want to get back on the saddle today. Cook something up nice and quick, get it up on the channel, get it, you know, up on my beat store. So I thought this might be a good opportunity to show people maybe some tips and tricks they might not know that really does help your beats sell. I've been running a type beat channel for a few years now, Willhouse beats. It's all old school beats, DJ Premier type beats, Nas type beats, that kind of thing. And on that channel I do a beat every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's usually the schedule. I've been off schedule the last bit, so I want to get something up to get the channel back ticking along, to get things rolling. And sometimes that means you gotta make a beat when you're not motivated to make a beat, or the inspiration's not there. So I'm hoping in this video I'll show you how you can turn pretty much anything into a good beat that will sell, just by using a bit of clever arranging, doing things that YouTube likes so it pushes the beat out more, doing things that artists like on their beat and that helps them, you know, it encourages them to buy it because it's what they're looking for. You're doing some of the work for them. And just how to show you how to, you know, flip a loop into a full song, a full finished project. So that's the goal for today. So I'll load up here and you see I've got these samples in. These are all Splice samples. It might sound like a bit of a mess because they're not mixed or anything yet, but just to give you an idea.
Really think you know someone, then you find a thought so fake. Oh, now you say it, don't you? You never get another minute without me, I'm leaving.
So first thing is first is I'm going to mess around with the pitch and the volumes, get them all melded together the way I would like, and then I'll get into the arranging and the drums. So I think my favourite sound is these here, this piano. So I think this is what the beat's going to be built around. So let's mess with the pitch a bit. Let's put it up by 400 cents. That sounds nice, I like that. So let's put them all up at 400. Now we're going to add each of these to a little mixer track, and we're just going to do the volume that way. I find it easier to do it. You can just do it here in the sample if you want, but I find when you see them all across the board, it's easy because you can adjust as you go a bit quicker.
Really think you know someone,
I'm going to filter this a bit, I think.
but then you find a thought so fake. You really think you know someone.
Nice, maybe a bit of reverb. I mostly use, by the way, stock plugins. I don't actually have any fancy reverbs or delays or anything like that. I've just been using FL ones for years now, and I'm kind of used to them. And I find that, I mean, I'm sure if I bought a nice reverb, I would immediately never go back. But I'm just used to the FL ones now. And I think if you can use the FL stock stuff well, then I find you get really good at producing because you've learned how to get the most out of the least. And I think that comes in handy. So yeah, it'll be mostly stock plugins here today that you'll notice.
But then you find a thought so fake.
Maybe a bit of delay. Stereo effect. Turn that down, turn the time up. I really don't like the end of that. So I think I might just dip the volume so it's not as obvious. I think it goes off key a small bit or something. I don't have an auto-tune plugin. I think that sounds good. I'm going to do a bit of EQing just so everything kind of blends together. This is just EQing the piano. So there's no need for this. When I'm EQing as well, literally all I'm doing is just getting rid of what's needed. I don't really get into the weeds of, you know, boosting things and make things sound perfect. I'm just getting rid of stuff that's not necessary, and I think that you end up with a nice, cleaner product. I'm going to make this a bit wider sounding. Let's EQ this. That's nice. I'm going to add a reverb to this, just a slight one. Let's do the bass. might try pitch this down a full octave and see how that sounds. I like that. I'll turn it up a bit. Nice. Just get rid of a bit of the high end on the bass. Maybe boost a little bit of the low. I like to as well sometimes cut the very, very, very bit or low end of a bass so that the kick comes through, because I find the kick is normally here, so I just do a little bit of that. It's a minor thing, probably wouldn't notice it. A lot of times it probably doesn't even make a difference, but I feel like it makes sense that you're making room for your kick. I think this is still a bit loud, the backing vocals. Going to get rid of a bit of high end in this, like, kind of, I think it's like electric guitar. Yeah, there we go. Nice. These are all blending together nicely now. Vocals are a bit low now, so let's turn these up a bit again. Nice. Let's EQ that acoustic guitar now. I think that's actually fine, maybe a bit of the high end. Alright, they all sound pretty nice. I think they're blending together nicely. So I mean, that's the crux of the beat. So all we need now is drums, arrangement, and maybe a little bit of something sprinkled on top to make it stand out. So that's what I mean, and if you want to turn something around quick, this is how you do it. You might not be inspired, you might not be feeling it. Go on Splice, find a loop, use a sample either that's like already very popular. Just do something to get you going, and it'll come then. The inspiration will come. And what you're doing is you're making it the beat your own through your arrangement and your little alterations. Like again, that's pitched up, it's all EQ'd differently, so it sounds different to what the original sample was. Already, straight away you know it's going to be good. Let's put the swing up a bit. Gonna add a ghost kick, so just clone the main kick, drop the volume, and then just pop it in. Gonna cut the hat every time there's a snare. I just do that, I find it sounds nicer, it makes a little more room for your snare, makes your snare stand out a bit more. I'm gonna now add these drums. If you saw my last video or any of my old videos, this is how I do my drums every time. I've been doing it for years. Saw it in a YouTube tutorial years ago. Never learned any more since. I just do the same thing. It works so well, and it's kind of what gives my drums their sound. You just add Fruity Limiter to all your drums, and then preset for drums, and it just whacks the gain up. I think that's all it does. And it just makes them hit harder. So I do that, and then I drop the high end a bit, and it kind of blends them in a bit more. You could do this without even listening. I know it's going to sound good. So here's how we're sounding now with the drums. That is a lovely little beat. I'm actually going to mess with the tempo a bit. It was on 85 because that's what the samples were. But I'm just going to try it a bit faster. So let's go 89, and let me time stretch these so that they're all 8 bars. Let's hear that now. It needs a bit more going on, just a small bit more, just some open hats, things like that, just to make it a bit more interesting. There's one sound I can hear in my head already with this. That's the one. You can just hear it already. So let me turn it way down. Let me try to time it right. There we go. I think that's perfect. I'm arranging my beats for my YouTube channel, for my Typey channel. So I'm arranging them to do well on YouTube and to sell on my beat store, and that artists want to buy them. To do that, there's a few simple things you can do. So I like to arrange my beats like this. So we have all our sections here. We've got the piano, the vocals, the electric guitar, blah, blah, blah. So that's the hook where everything is going. I'm going to have the hook hit here. So the first section is going to be an intro, and then it'll go straight into the hook. So for the intro, let's maybe just try with the piano. And then maybe the guitar for the second section. Nice. That works well. It's a little bit dull, but I think maybe these backing vocals, I think maybe that might work. Let's fade it in a bit. That's nice, I like that. So my rule of thumb is you want to come up into the hook and then the verses are down. You want to think of the track like a roller coaster. I know it's a bit like eye-rolly to say, but you never want to, I think, go the song to just go up, 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 bigger, 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 because people get bored. You want to go up. There's sections that are way up here, then it dips down, it gets a bit, there's less going on, then it comes back and it builds. You want it going up and down like that, if that makes sense. I don't know if it does. So to do my verse, I'm just going to copy the hook because it's got everything there, and then we're going to take stuff away until it sounds like the section we want. So for the verse section, you got to think of the artist. You need to leave room. You don't want all that stuff going all the time, because where are they going to rap over? Where are they going to sing over? There's already so many melodies going on. There's just going to be, it'll be too much. They're fighting against the beat. So for my verses, I like to really strip them back. Something like this. Keep that as well like that. So there's so much room. Even like me, I'm talking over it right now, and it sounds totally fine, So I think that's the move. I'm going to do this for 16 bars, and maybe for the second part of the verse we'll bring in a little something else. Maybe like the acoustic guitar. Yeah, that's nice. And then we're going to take everything away near the end to go back to the hook. Nice, that's perfect. That little t on the guitar, that's the perfect little segue into the hook. So we go back to the hook then from the verse. Alright, so then we go into verse 2. Something that I like to do is to take even more away in the second verse, at the start of the second verse. This is the bit where, the artist really breaks it down, if you want to imagine it like that. And what I like to do usually is take the drums away from a bit. If you look, the drums have been going for pretty much the whole song. So, give people a break from them. Make them want to hear them again, Take them away, bring them back. So let's try that. Let's try no drums, just the piano and the bass for the start of verse 2. So we're going from the hook into verse 2. Maybe we'll take away the bass even. And then we'll let the drums build up. To do that, we're going to do just the hi-hats. Let's try that out. Now when you're doing just the hi-hats, I'm going to bring back the ones that I take away when the snare hits, because otherwise it'll just be a weird gap, I think. So if you imagine it's a band playing the beat, that helps. If you imagine, you know, you want the band to be working together. So now it's this quiet breakdown bit, and, you know, it's time to bring the drums back. The drummer's not just going to get perfect straight away. He's going to, you know, play his way into it. He's going to hit the hi-hats, then boom, boom, boom. It's a band. Think of it that way. So that might not make sense, but what I mean is you've got this little quiet bit, and then we're going to take it all the way at the end and then bring it all back. So it goes like this. And you know what? Because this is the last verse, let's make it a little bit more interesting. Let's add the backing vocals part here. All the sounds play in the hook, and then the verse, some of them play, but they don't always play at the same time. So it sounds like different parts of the song. You're not just using the loop and repeating it over and over and over and over. You know, you want different sections. So let's try that. Let's try it with now the piano, the bass, and the backing vocals. Nice, that's really nice. Bring the acoustic guitar in at the end just for that little sound, because I think that signals the end of the verse nicely, and then you're out. There's the hook, the last hook. And again, imagine it's a band playing, so it's not just the loop is now different, it's now the guitarist in the band is starting to come back in. So he wouldn't just come back in suddenly. Let's have him, you know, signal he's come back in, and then we hit everything all at once. You know what? Let's even drop everything so it's just that little guitar sound. Nice. That's your last hook. So now you're going to the outro. Sometimes I like to just keep the hook going and fade it out slowly, but this time I think we're going to just do one last drumless hook, and then that'll be the end of the song. And maybe we'll cut the bass for the outro. And then we're going to want to end it with just the vocals, I think that'd sound nice. And a bit more just so the delay keeps going. Nice. And there you go. That's the full beat arranged. You can see how, with just a bit of thinking, a bit of arranging, you can turn a simple loop into your own full track. Like, I'm sure plenty of people use this loop sample or this Splice sample before, but I doubt there's anyone who's made the exact same beat, you know? There's probably people with trap drums over it, different BPMs. So turn loops into your own thing. That's how you flip them into a full song. And that beat now, I'm just going to add a mastering track to it, and then it's good to go. I'm firing it up on my YouTube, and you never know, that beat could sell tonight, it could sell tomorrow. And that's how, what did that take? Half an hour, 40 minutes? And there's another beat to add to my library, to my collection, whatever you want to call it, that could now go on to sell again and again and again if people are releasing it. Or maybe, you never know, I might send it out to an artist and it turns into a song. So you can start with just a small loop and you turn it into a full song. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Just wanted to get back in the saddle, make something quick and easy, and hopefully you learned something today. Hopefully you learned how to arrange things. Hopefully these tricks help you sell more beats in the future. If you like the video, give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you have any feedback, if you want to see anything. If you disagree with anything, feel free to let me know. And if you want to subscribe to see more videos in the future. Like I said, it's a pretty new channel, like doing it properly with the mic and the camera and the light and all that. So I'm sure you noticed even though I have a stand now, it was just here last time, if you're looking closely. So you can see we're growing every episode. Hopefully there's no technical issues on this one. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you liked the beat, and see you next time. Good luck.